eat and greet. So we've got another beautiful lunch date with Penny Hall. And Courts' family are actually just settling on their house today, so they're doing a special lunch thing as a celebration. So unfortunately, she's not with us today, but she's really excited to look back and have a listen and see what we run through and find out more and explain more about you to the community and what Penny's all about. So do you want to start off with who is Penny? So how did you, tell us a little bit about your story and about your journey.
Sure. I have... I run two businesses, so I'm known as Penny Hall in one of the businesses, which is travel, and I've been with travel managers for 8 years. I've been in actual travel for a long, long time, since I was 22, and I'm now in my late 40s. So that's been my passion for all those years, which has just been fantastic. I lived in Johannesburg for nearly a decade. I lived in London for a couple of years as well, as a crazy backpacker in London. I worked seriously in Joburg with in travel with Qantas and another company, a wholesaler.
Yep.
And then, as I still am, I'm juggling my two businesses. The second business, which just gives me now fire in my belly every second of every day, is the business I've named Penelope J, which is a play on my name. And what that is a personal development business, to give it a broad name, and how that came to balance out of my life. And I physically changed the locks on the house so that person wasn't able to enter. And that started a really tough journey. It was tough before that, but this one nearly broke me.
Really?
And once I came, it was extremely challenging going through all the processes that includes with authorities and all that kind of thing. So now that I've come out the other side and I've done a tremendous amount of work on myself, it's time for me to, I'm not quite sure if I like the wording give back, but it's time for me to share what I know about certain systems and processes and how to get yourself back in the swing of life again. And not necessarily just to do with abuse, to do with anything. People get stuck in life, and next thing they know, 10 years has passed by, and they think, oh my gosh, what have I done for the last 10 years? And it's interesting when you talk to people, the more you get to know someone, the deeper you delve, we've all got stuff. So I gained some certification, which gives me some credibility, and based on personal experience, who I am as a person, as Penny Hall, Penelope Hall. And every waking second is my Penelope J business. It's what I love to do and help people. Basically, I champion people to either rise up from an unwanted life or continue or break through, I guess, the ice of a frozen life, perhaps, and to move forward. Perhaps they were at ground zero like I was more than once, and they don't know the first steps to take, and it's baby steps, it's step by step. So that's that's where I am now running my business.
Yeah, awesome. And one of the big things I think everybody in this sort of heart-centered space finds is that ultimately the people that you attract that you can help are people that have had some form of journey that they can certainly resonate with yours. So, and that's why, you're attracted to each other, and why you can speak to them where they need to be spoken to at that time, because they really connect with, where you've come from and what you've done. And so they might be at any stage in that journey, but they need to know the next step. So to have someone hold their hand to take it is great.
Absolutely. And I said you don't have to come from a domestic violence / family / abuse. It's just life happens, and sometimes you're not so excited at that time about where your life is going. So it's up to us to take that first step.
Yeah.
Nobody else. We have to action, take responsibility for ourselves and all of those things. And it's really lovely these days. There's, it's the awareness is there of to live a fulfilled life is, release expectations, forgive, but it doesn't come natural or naturally. So sometimes we just have to create that different thought space to work out, okay, so if I forgive that person for hurting me, it doesn't actually condone their behaviour. You're releasing you. But some people don't understand that concept until we delve a little bit deeper. And what the bottom line is loving you. And accepting and trusting yourself. That's because once I do, I'll be open for more friendships and more love and more happy and more smiling and fulfillment, and be able to step past some fears that I've had, or any of us that we've had.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's great.
Yeah, it's very true. And I think I've really even looked at this in the last week or so and understanding the fact that for a lot of people, some people are in a job and they're actually really good at it. They really quite enjoy it. They haven't had lots of necessarily even big things happen, but they get to a point where, like you mentioned, that time's passing them by. A day turns into a week, turns into a month, turns into months. I mean, it's Christmas again. And then you have to ask yourself, how much are you really enjoying this life that you're living? And it's not that anything's bad, and this is kind of part of my story, I guess, is, it's not even necessarily for them. And I think some of them are even having to even get to a point of recognizing it and seeing what is available there to see that there's something else. But they really are just starting to get to a point that they're realizing, oh yeah, man, I don't know. It's kind of like we're just in this rut, a good rut. It's pretty good, but it's time for something different. So,
and you don't necessarily have to be sitting there day by day crying. It's just, what it is, and what it was for me was, I know there's more out there.
Yeah, there's got to be something.
But my more,
yeah,
and my more is going to be different to yours, different to Christine's. It's to Courts. It's my more is going to be very different. We might have some similar things, but whatever we are looking for, it might just be you want to go on a holiday.
Yeah.
It might just be you go for a walk on the beach. It could be simple. It doesn't have to cost money, and it doesn't have to be, the monumental, the mountain that you think that you need to climb
to be happy
today, like in a minute.
Yeah, absolutely.
It all happens in good time. But I think that's part of a process that some of us need to learn, because sometimes, it doesn't come just sort of off the cuff.
Yeah.
So, but once you do, it's beautiful.
All right. So do you want to, we kind of did a little bit on your history, but we've probably talked more about business already. So do you want to give us a little bit more information about what your core business, I mean, obviously are you still doing the travel one as much, or that isn't as much your passion? That's been a big part of your passion in your life, but your passion is really...
Yeah. Well, I'm still doing my travel, and I do that every day. It doesn't take my breath away like it used to.
Right.
However, because I am still doing my travel, I'm actually going to combine the two businesses and put together a, whether it's a retreat or just a getaway for probably just women for my first one.
Yeah.
But probably more like the beginning of 2018. So that's just sort of in its infancy at the moment, that idea.
Yeah.
But I've got, business A, which is travel managers, business B, which is my Penelope J, and that's where my main focus is, because I find it hard to think travel.
Hard to get out.
I've got some, but I've got some beautiful clients that have followed me and been with me for years, so I still look after them. And but with Penelope J, it actually encompasses, there's quite a few things that I do. I speak when people want me to speak, and I share guess I share not my story, but bits of my story and where I was in a very dark space and ground zero, and how I managed to rise myself up from there.
Yep.
I've also run workshops for whatever that I can tailor make a workshop. I can make it as rah-rah as possible. I can make it as sedate as possible, depending on what people are after. I've got a couple of programs online which can either be physical or online, with person. The one that's going great guns and people can't get enough of is my 90-day New Dawn, New Day journey.
Right.
That's completely online, and I've set up a secret Facebook page with that person. We're accountable to each other for 90 days. We develop a mantra. I do some personal development within that space as well. I set focus tasks, easy ones, but stuff that's going to help us here, to help us here, to help us here.
Yeah.
Which helps us, personally. You've got to help yourself personally first, and then your business mind will be, your mind energy will actually be clearer for business and personal as well. So is that Bronte there?
Yeah, Bronte's raised her hand. Did you want to say something, Bronte? Or just playing around? That's all right. You can unmute and ask if you needed to, Bronte. So how about we say this? So if somebody wanted to work with you, can you take us a little bit through the process that you would go through if somebody,
Sure.
said, yep, tell me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. If someone was really keen just to even find their why, find their purpose in life, why am I here?
Yeah.
A lot of us do question that. Some of us don't, and some of us know already. So it'll be initial contact, and then because in this kind of arena, I really like people to know who I am and believe in me and trust, because they're actually sharing a lot of very personal thoughts and history to me.
Yeah.
And unless you know me, and I can't always have my friends gathered around, or my family, to actually say to you, no, she's a good sort.
Yeah.
You can trust her. So initially we'll have a face-to-face, like we're doing here, discussion, so we can have a chat, and then I'll dig deeper. So just to ask a few questions to see where that person's at, because I need to feel valuable to them.
Yeah.
and how I can help them, because what will work for you if you were one of my clients was going to be different for Bronte or Christine, different clients. So and then during that call, I read a whole lot of different words, and we set up your own mantra. So I read you some positive words, some nouns, some adjectives, some verbs, that you create a mantra about yourself.
Yeah.
And something that you believe yourself to be, and you need to repeat that every day, and we write it down every day. So there's certain rituals that we do.
Yeah.
And there's also other tasks that I ask people to do. Because I am getting to know them personally, I slip things on the page that are to do with them. And I can be a bit silly sometimes. So I was like, with Bronte, her kids were floating around, weren't they? And she had to do something, so one of her kids held the phone. So I was, doing silly faces, and I'm a mum.
Yeah, that's
so.
right.
And I like to add fun in, because sometimes we can lose that fun, and we're so consumed in here that we're not centered on the love that what I now call what we need to bring back to home base.
Yeah.
So we then start our journey, and they've got certain rituals. We create vision books or vision boards, whatever works for them. And then we kind of work, if they're a business owner, I can help guide them with some business as well. It's mainly personal to get them back on their feet, if that's what they feel they need to do, or, as I said, to find their why, their purpose. Are they stuck? Why are they stuck? Is there past experience that they're still holding on to, that really they just need to send off to the universe, and it's not serving them anymore? And then we start a 90-day journey, like every day together. And we don't talk every day, but we do it online. And I'm here if they need me. And then what I'm doing now is after the 90-day, because I'll just do a little interject here. When I was going through all my dark times, I felt really alone. And I've got this overwhelming feeling that no one, I get all emotional, sorry, no one should ever feel that alone.
Yeah.
I was so desperate. So, yes, I had people around me, but it was almost like they were just buzzing. And I just felt so alone.
Love and belonging. You know, you want to love and you want to feel like you belong.
Yeah. So the 90-day journey is about just communicating with someone who's outside your family circle, outside your friendship circle, although I end up becoming friends with people. And someone who I guess is trained like I am, works with people every day. I educate myself constantly in my area and my interests. And then after that 90 days, so you're not alone, I'm now developing a membership and then creating a community. And I ask everyone that's on my 90 days program, because I've got a stack now which rocks my world, if they're okay with coming into the community. You know, they can share what they want. They don't have to even talk. They can just be there so they don't feel like they're alone. And then I'm always here. So that's pretty much what the 90-day is all about, and that's kind of taken over everything at the moment because it's become so popular. So, and I've got other ones which we can make face-to-face. There's 2 other programs that we can do face-to-face.
Awesome.
If people want to as well. So obviously, because I'm located in Adelaide, so obviously Adelaide ones. And that's pretty much the 90-day, you know, plus moving forward.
So if we look at the time that you've been in business now, particularly obviously you've done 2 different businesses. So with the travel one, is that completely independent? That's your own business?
No, Travel Managers is the best way to explain it is it's like a franchise. So it's the model is home based. There's over 500 of us around the country. Yes. Head office is in Sydney. It's a rather a large company now, but I don't want to work in an office. You know, this is my space at home. So yeah, and the other business.
Yeah, and I've run a franchise, so I know exactly what you mean by you've got the support, the structure, everything you kind of need. But I ran mine from home as well, so it's beautiful to have that. But it's still a business basically that you're running, but you've got all your experience with that over the time, plus obviously in this whole new journey. Do you want to see if you can think of, or if you have already thought of, a couple of nuggets that you'd like to share with people that are at different stages on their business journey that you think you would love to share?
Sure. I have come up with 2, but I didn't even have to come up with them. They're just inside me. Is, you know, what I love about today's time, and I guess what you and Courts are developing is authenticity and to be yourself. And through my particular challenging journey in the last few years, because I was told otherwise about who I am or who I was supposed to be or who I'm not, and, you know, that was all the negative stuff, I'm now completely on my home base. Yeah. And, you know, the next time any of you will see me, I'm me. I'm still that same person. You know, I can wear a corporate hat if I need to impress some people. I can talk cocktail chatter, but then I can also sit in a beanbag with you or wrestle with you on the ground, you know, and be silly. So it's to be me and to feel that I can be me. And I think that's what I would share with anyone. It's okay to be yourself, because that leads me into the second nugget, which is having the right tribe around you.
Yes.
And because they will accept you, you'll accept them. We're all different. Yeah. We've all got our little things about us, or little, you know, idiosyncrasies that you think, oh my gosh. But when you're with people who rock your world, it doesn't matter. And if you are finding you're not with the right tribe, go and join these sorts of groups.
Yeah.
Hang out with, like, I love men and women, but
yeah,
being with women in business, just, I don't know, it's just a feminine thing, you know, which I love.
It can be that little bit safer space for a lot of them, and it doesn't. You know, it's the same as we have male speakers that come in and speak because, you know, we love them too. It's not that we don't, but when it comes to that full, authentic, raw, vulnerable sort of self, sometimes you still need to do that in a safe place. And just the same as you don't want to do it on your, you know, friends, on your personal Facebook page, which are supposedly all your friends, or at least people that you know or have had come in contact with, that's not necessarily the place the platform to do that. So, you know, we obviously have kept the coterie to be female focused because we know that there is that level of vulnerability we want them to be prepared to kind of share. And look, I mean, even in business for myself, and I hear it all the time, there is that battle of male and female between the working environment and the value environment and the money value environment, you know, all of the dynamics that go with that. As much as you love your husband and you're really well matched, you can still have some different thoughts in this arena. And so that can be a challenge on its own. And I think if we actually did a survey on it, a really high percentage of women would find that part of their battle is having their husband 150% behind them. So they need to have a place where that can be a place that they can kind of throw that. Anna knows exactly what I'm talking about here. But somewhere that you can throw that and not be judged for it and not be thought that, oh, you know, your relationships, maybe you got something wrong with it, because that's not necessarily the case at all. Because they're on a journey as well. And for a lot of us that are maybe have discovered a journey, because they're often working, they're loving their job, they're in this, you know, space, they're climbing the ladder, doing whatever they're doing, unless you've got a really entrepreneurial husband that's like totally in alignment with your same sorts of things, they're in a different place. So their journey is different to ours. And if they are watching us, sometimes we're growing faster than they're growing in regards to that space. So that can be a challenge, I'm sure, for them as well. So it's really good to have a safe place. Just the same as...
It's support. It's about support and understanding, and they don't even have to... I think it helps if your values are similar.
Yeah.
But it's the support, and they don't have to have the same vision as us because we're still individuals. Yeah. So I think it's just...
Well, because what they do is completely different to what we do. We can't even pick their brain on some of the idiosyncrasies or the things you need to do, even from a technical perspective. Like, I had lunch with my husband the other week, and he was all excited to talk more about Smart Chicks and what's happening and this and that. And then I was talking about one, and he said, oh, so you need to get someone to help you with this and with that. And I was like, because I'm thinking, you don't know what I know. You don't realize how much I know about all of this, because just because I haven't told you, I haven't had any reason to ever tell you that and he's like, but how do you know that's, you know, like about avatar interviews and how, you know, all this sort of stuff. He's like, yeah, but you need to speak to somebody that has lists of hundreds of thousands. Those marketing guys will be able to tell you. And I'm like, yeah, it's all valid. But at the same time, he really just doesn't know what I know from that online entrepreneurial space.
You can do hashtag honey go away.
Right.
I love you, but go away.
Just said here, mine also told me that being on call didn't have a value because it's not objectively that's exactly right. Like, they sometimes really have a whole, okay, so, because I remember early on in business, my husband going, okay, so how many hours will that be this week? Okay, so if you went and worked at McDonald's, you could get X amount per hour, and that would be sort of, it's like, yes, but I don't want to work at McDonald's. And when I stopped working at McDonald's, I would stop getting that $12 an hour or whatever it was. Like, he had to get his head around, in business, you put in time and effort and energy to be rewarded sometimes later. So yeah, Christine's got here, mine has just come home. Must be
I just saw that. Hello, hubby.
Must be food time.
Hashtag we really love you.
So yeah, no, and that's where the certainly the female space works well. And do you know what was interesting? Because when we had the event a couple of weeks ago for, you know, women's entrepreneurial day of entrepreneurism. And there was, obviously a couple of great guys. Anna's husband was there. Then we had John, who'd been our speaker, as well as Miriam Castilla's husband. And John and Martin specifically talked about the fact that, they had a ball. They loved kind of the energy and the openness of the female space, but just the fact that they would love to think that you could have a male space like that, but they've tried to be in some, and they said, and it actually just doesn't work, because men are wired quite differently anyway. So they don't talk like we talk. So then they don't kind of, so it's just different. So
we talk about everything, like everything. You can talk about business in one breath, and then next thing you're talking about something that some people might go like this about, but that's the beautiful feminine energy that we've got, and we can seep it over to the guys just as much as they can seep stuff over to us.
Yeah, that's right. And Christine's brought up another great point here. He has a business as well, but he swaps time for dollars and can't understand the value concept. And that's a big journey, even for people that are transitioning from a traditional business, something, maybe they're a naturopath, or they have a good bricks and mortar where they exchange basically their time for money, but they get to a point where they want to actually have a bit more of their time back, but not forego the money. And they realize that online they actually have the ability to do both. So if you can cut down your hours, but also still earn income through all these other means by still helping people and gain that bit of leverage, ultimately you can help far more people with less time.
Exactly. Well, that's where one-to-many works.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And that's where it also helps from a price point, because you have some clients where they can't go to the higher end, but they still want to have your help. So they, they'll pay for a small group or a bigger group or whatever. Yeah. But to transition, that can be quite tricky. I mean, even when, the same probably with you with the travel to a degree. Same when I had my franchise, it was still very much, I bought myself a job, I don't fool myself into thinking that was ever going, well, I had it and I worked it, it earned me money, and then I sold it and made money on selling it. But what we do now is really about kind of just creating that lifestyle and creating the balance that you want, so that you love what you do and you never really tire of it, because you get rewarded nicely for doing it as well.
Exactly. And, bottom line, we can't hide it. We all need money.
Yeah.
But if you're doing what you love doing, then it's your passion. It's not work. It's not hard. I mean, yes, you put in your hours, and you know what, you've got to put in your 10,000 hours to get out.
Yeah.
You really have to sometimes, but at the same time, you then look after yourself. Make sure you do get enough sleep, eat well, drink well, drink water, wine sometimes, and you've got to look after that. But you got to put the effort in to get the rewards as well. Yeah,
and what Christine said there is the next thing I was going to even mention when you talked about. Having to have the money, the more money you have, obviously the more you can help. I listened to a podcast a couple of weeks ago that was with a membership expert. So his business is helping people to create memberships, like have sites that have memberships and whatever. And one of the biggest things that these guys talked about was the fact that what you do costs money. So it was Chris Ducker and and Michael. Can't remember his name. Michael was the guru. Okay, thanks, Anna. See ya. And one of the things he talked about is the value add that we have in creating a membership and helping people through support and support inspiration and maybe the knowledge we bring to the table. The biggest thing is, if you don't monetize it to add money value in that concept, you're actually doing your members a disservice, because you will ultimately burn out and not be able to maintain and keep going at the rate and with the energy as what you are. And so they're the ones that are going to miss out, because you'll end up stopping. So it's a win-win. They want you to keep doing what you're doing. So if you're able to make sure that, you can, because, it's in balance, you're not overworked, and you're getting financially rewarded, your energy remains high, and your willingness to serve obviously remains there, but they are getting something even more valuable out of it. And so it's a real win. So you have to be paid.
And that's where, as they call them now, the funnels and having systems and processes and actually sticking to it. and focusing on that one thing, build that one thing to start with. Once that's up and running, and depending on the structure, if you might have a manager or it's completely running itself and you just have to check it now and then you can start your next thing, and if you don't get so overwhelmed. And you know what? That's the same in everyday life as well, not just business.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you have an offer for us that you'd like to put out? So obviously we have one for the Coterie, and then we have an offer for our paid members.
I do.
Go.
I do. I am in my quest to, I guess, serve others, and hopefully people can feel as at peace as I do. And I always lose my breath because I'm so overwhelmed with what I do. I just love it. My 90-day program has just taken off in a crazy fashion. So I'd like to offer, normally online, when someone just comes and grabs it from online, it's $480 for the 90 days, and, getting me every day and everything that I ran through before. For the general non-members in the Coterie, I'd like to offer, so bring it down from $480 to $395.
Fantastic.
And then for your members, your paying members, I'll knock another $100 off and bring that down to $295.
Wow, that's amazing.
So I want everyone to feel how I feel in their own way, in their own skin, and because it's just fabulous.
Yeah.
So, I can see a lovely lady who's started her journey. Woohoo! I wish I could give you a hug.
Good girl.
On my biggest screen. Woohoo!
And for those of you that don't know, that's my sister. They're just below me.
I know that now.
I know. Oh, that's amazing. So tomorrow is obviously promo day in the group. So if you can make sure you write that up and put that together for us. I'm going to pop it into the members lounge, but I'll get you to post it as well. Obviously, the Coterie would be beautiful. I've recorded this, so this will go onto our Smartflix YouTube channel, and it'll be accessible obviously for anyone. So I'll also pop the recording up into the group. And I think we're done.
Can I say one more thing quickly?
Yeah.
I have an international event that I'm running with a chap that I'm bringing out from the UK in March next year. So if you want any more info, I sometimes put it up on promo day anyway. So seats are selling. So
pop that up with the other information on the promo stuff, and then just that as well being coming up, because that'll get people looking into your stuff and your website and all of that, which should be great.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Fantastic. Do you know Simone Ware, Penelope? No?
No. As in...
Is it a name?
Is that a name? Who asked me that?
Christine did. Actually, I'm just going to finish off the recording, so we'll say thank you so much. I'll just...